You are listening to One Happy Podcast, episode 36.
Of a place that we've all been to, we all enjoy, and we all keep going back.
Bon dia, Aruba lovers, and welcome to One Happy Podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Robinson, a.k.a. Aruba Kurt, and as always, it's my pleasure to be able to bring to you the officially unofficial podcast of the island of Aruba. But before we get started, I want to take a minute to thank you all for being such amazing listeners. It takes quite a bit to put the show together, especially since I have no training in any of this, and I'm pretty much learning it all on the fly. But it's all worth it because I can see by the download numbers that each and every month, more and more people are becoming listeners of the show. Besides, who else gets to turn strangers into friends by talking about one of their favorite subjects? Now, on to the show. Today, I have a special show planned for you all as I'm being joined by a fellow Aruba lover who loves to relax in paradise by not making any plans at all. She's actually a friend and sometimes travel buddy of my last guest on the show, Don Ballantoni. And although they both work for the same company, it was actually Aruba that introduced them to each other and laid the foundation for an amazing friendship. If you enjoyed episode 35, you're going to love this one as well. So without any further ado, One Happy Podcast would love to welcome to the show Miss Amy White.
Hey, Amy, how are you?
I'm doing good, Kurt. How are you?
I'm really good. I want to welcome you to One Happy Podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So let me ask you something. Are you ready to share your Aruba story with the listeners?
Absolutely.
Cool. So why don't we start from pretty much from the beginning? And I want to ask you, how did you first discover Aruba?
Okay, well, I first discovered Aruba through my best friend from college. Mm-hmm. All through college, she traveled all over. She's been to pretty much every Caribbean island. She's been to Africa. She's been to Australia. You know, she's traveled the world.
Very cool.
And she always said to me, she said, Amy, if there's one place you have to go to Aruba. And I said, oh, maybe one day. You know, back then I was a poor little college student.
Right.
So finally I get a decent job, and she calls me up and she says, listen, my sister owns a timeshare there now in Aruba. She wants the two of us to come with her and spend a week there. So I said, sure, absolutely, sign me up. So it was November of 2002. So I go for a week. Back then, downtown Aruba was hopping. There were all these clubs. There was Carlos and Charlie's. There were Choose a Name. There were clubs I didn't even know the names of, but we were going in there. Just experiencing the whole island. And I just felt so at peace there, and we just had so much fun. We met so many fantastic people that are just friendly and outgoing and always with bon dia and how are you today? And it was just a warm feeling inside. And so I enjoyed that trip so much. We came back, and we had done the cuckoo while we were on the trip. And I remember the driver saying to me, you guys should come back for Carnival. So I went back home from that trip, got on my computer, and we booked the trip, and we went for Carnival, like 3 months later.
Very cool.
And we had such a fantastic time at Carnival. We were dancing in the back of this truck. We were having drinks. We went to the pajama party the night before up in San Nicolas. And the whole street was alive. I mean, meanwhile, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. The whole street was alive. And it was just such a great, great time. And I just really fell in love the very first time, and I just kept coming home and booking another trip.
Very cool. So do you go back for Carnival often?
I've probably been for Carnival about 5 times.
Oh, nice.
I am hoping to go again maybe next year. It's a weird set up because it's based on, when Ash Wednesday lands and et cetera.
Right.
So you always have to kind of look at when it is. And next year's Grand Parade happens to fall on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I want to go. Will I be able to swing it? I don't know.
Something to shoot for, though.
Absolutely. If you've never been, it's not like Mardi Gras where people are stripping their clothes off or anything like that. It's really just everybody coming together, having a good time, listening to music, looking at the costumes, having drinks, and just enjoying being out and with people and with the community.
So would you say it really embodies the spirit of Aruba?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost like they're friends you just haven't met yet. You know what I mean? They're such a friendly set of people. They make you feel at home. Even if you've never been to Carnival, they always make you feel like you don't have to worry. You can just be yourself and have fun and enjoy.
And that's what Aruba's all about.
Absolutely.
That's what keeps us coming back.
For sure.
So how many times total would you say you've been there?
I think I lost track after 15 because there were some years. There were some years I was going 3 times. There were a couple of years I went twice. One year I went on a cruise and we stopped there. So I kind of lost track after 15.
Well, how was that? Because I've been there on cruise ships, but I don't think I've been back since I've started visiting Aruba on a land-based vacation. So how was it just visiting Aruba for a day on a cruise?
Well, actually, Aruba was the last stop on the cruise before we headed back to San Juan. We got off the ship. Immediately, we saw friends of ours.
Okay.
We took a ride on the Cuckoo bus up to the high-rise section. And we just walked around. We actually had dinner in Aruba because our ship wasn't leaving until 9 o'clock. We went to El Gaucho for dinner.
Okay.
And I introduced my brother and my sister-in-law to Aruba that way.
Very cool.
Because we got there very early in the morning, and the ship didn't pull out until 9 o'clock at night. But it was immediately we get off the ship, and there's, 5 friends of ours right there. And we're getting hugs and, hey, welcome back. Good to see you,
Yeah, he can't beat that. It's like going back home.
Absolutely.
Which cruise line was that?
It was actually Royal Caribbean.
Adventure of the Seas?
It was Empress of the Seas.
Empress of the Seas. Okay, I knew it was one of those. Yeah.
And actually, after that one, Royal Caribbean ended up selling that ship to another cruise line. That was one of the last cruises that it went under Royal at.
Okay, now I've taken that same itinerary out of San Juan, with the last stop being Aruba.
Yeah.
I've taken that, but that was on the Adventure of the Seas.
Okay.
So you mentioned El Gaucho. Is that one of your go-to places?
It used to be. It used to be one of my absolute go-to. I have to go back, but I have to be honest and say, the last time I went there, it was disappointing.
Oh, really?
It really was. I miss the wooden plates that they used to serve the steak on. They don't do that anymore. Their white sangria is still phenomenal. I have to say that. But you know what? It was for the amount that we paid, I really wasn't as impressed as I used to be with it.
Right. Yeah, and if someone has never gone there, it might not be a big deal to them, but it's difficult once you've seen the highs of a place, and then you go there and it just doesn't attain that anymore.
Right. It's very disappointing, and you're like, okay, well, now where do I go? I have to find a new place to go.
Right. So did you find a replacement?
I actually did. I actually spoke to one of the taxi drivers who's a very good friend of mine. I don't know if you've ever seen the pimped out Lincoln down there.
I have seen it. Everybody's seen it.
So I said to Honey, I said, listen, we went to El Gaucho for dinner last night. It was so expensive. It so wasn't that good. He said, I'm going to take you to a place where the locals eat, where it's good food, reasonable. You're going to love it. And that's Redfish in Orange Plaza.
Okay. I've never been there.
They actually, what I paid at Redfish for 3 people, because I ended up treating Honey that night as well, was half of what I paid at El Gaucho for just me and my son the night before.
Really?
Really.
Wow. Yeah, that's the difference between going to a touristy place and some in the places that the locals eat.
Right, and I mean, you're getting what my son got. I think it was a half a pound of red snapper, plantains, a rice dish, a big plate of food for extremely excellent prices.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that if you've never been there, Redfish is definitely a place you have to try. Excellent food. Excellent.
I will have to check it out.
One of my other new discoveries is Fishes and More. And we just happened to we were walking around the high-rise area, and we were getting ready to eat, and we were like, well, where should we go? And we were walking by, and they happened to have their menu on a podium right in front of there. We looked at the menu. Oh, that's pretty decent. So that's now become a regular place for us, as well as Casatua.
Yes.
So, you always have to be, when you go there, you have to be open to trying something different.
Definitely.
And not always being in a routine.
Right. No, I agree 100%. Casatua, that's a nice place to go whenever we want to keep costs down. Like if we start to get out of control with our spending, we get to a place like Casatua where it's really affordable and they have good pizza.
Oh, and I love that spicy olive oil with just the plain cheese pizza, and you dip the pizza. Oh, out of
delicious.
This world. Out of this world.
You got it. Do you have any other go-tos?
As far as food goes? Oh, my other I must go to is Mama's Food Truck by La Cabana.
Yes.
The line to get your food there is sometimes we're there before they're even open. Like, because we just want to make sure we get whatever food it is that day, and phenomenal food for like such a ridiculously cheap price.
Yeah, people don't realize just how good that food truck is.
I think, again, it's people not wanting to take a chance that something's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And they're so used to, oh, well, I'll just go to this restaurant at my resort because I'm here and it's easy, versus branching out to try to see what else is out there.
And, I mean, that's fine if you want to stay at your resort and just eat at the properties right around there. But when you get outside your comfort zone a little bit, that's where you find the spectacular things, if you ask me.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, we tried Mama's a couple of years ago, and ever since then we've been hooked.
Well,
completely hooked.
We found that through our friend that owns the water sports on Eagle Beach. Yeah. He comes over and he's eating his lunch, and we're like, "What's that?"
Right. Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, it's a truck. It's right there." And we walked over and we got some, and ever since, that's our go-to place for lunch.
Yeah, all the water sports guys eat there. So I mean, you know it's good because these guys are riding their jet skis and boats down from Palm Beach, grabbing their lunch at Mama's, and then going back up to Palm Beach.
Absolutely. I'm
glad you said that. Where do you usually stay when you go to Aruba?
I now 5 years ago I actually purchased at the Divi Dutch Village.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed there. However, I have stayed at the surf club, at the at La Cabana, at the Aruban, which is now Tropicana.
Okay.
I rented apartments, believe it or not, there.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed at the Divi Village Golf and the Golf and Beach Resort.
Uh-huh.
I stayed at the Divi Phoenix. So
you've just been everywhere.
So I've been everywhere from the high rises down to the low rises and off the beaten path with the apartments.
Okay, yeah. We usually rent a house. I have actually never stayed at a resort in Aruba.
Really?
Yeah, we've always done either renting condos or a standalone home.
I wanted to try that, but you know what? For some reason, I don't always like to rent a car. And I have to say, I don't always want to drive.
Right, I can understand.
And I don't necessarily always want to take the bus either, but I will. I'll take the bus. But my thing with renting a car, I want everybody to have a good time.
True.
And if that means somebody doesn't get to drink because we have to drive back to wherever we're staying, I just, even if you're taking turns, I just don't think it's a fair.
No, I understand that completely. I mean, everybody's on vacation.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I definitely get that. The place that we rent is walkable to Palm Beach.
Okay.
So that helps. During the daytime, I mean, we'll drive to the various beaches because we like to go down to Eagle Beach.
Okay.
So we'll drive all over the place. But no, at night, we just walk right in.
Okay. All right.
But I'm curious. Tell me about the Divi Dutch Village.
The Divi Dutch is, first of all, a lot of people wouldn't even realize that it's there. Because where it is, it almost looks like it's part of the Tamarin, but it's not.
Okay.
It's very quiet, very low-key. If you want to be on the beach, you actually really need to walk more in front of the Divi Village Golf and Beach Villas. You really have to go for a little walk. It's not a far walk, but it's very low-key, right? And there's 3 pools on site. So it's a very quiet, almost out-of-the-way spot.
Right. Sounds like the perfect place to get away from real life.
Right. And it works out perfectly for me when I have my son with me because literally you walk out of my patio and there's the pool.
Right. Yeah, you can't beat that.
So I can be in the room cooking or making his lunch and he's in the pool. And it's fine and I can still see him. And I'm not afraid that there's too many people around.
Right.
So I find that it's perfect. And if I want to completely chill out and relax, it's key. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, sounds it. So do they have full kitchens?
They do have a full kitchen. And they're actually next year, they've already started, they're renovating. Renovating all the units, doing stainless steel appliances.
Oh, nice.
Flat screens up on the wall. But it's a decent room. It's got the kitchen, it's got the stove, it's got the microwave, convection oven, coffee maker. Doesn't have a dishwasher. That would be my only thing that I wish it had.
Oh, your son. But no, see, that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons why we always started with renting homes and apartments, because we like to have the kitchen for breakfast. Sometimes for lunch.
Right.
We usually go out for dinner, but if we're down there for a while, we'll cook a dinner or two in as well.
Right. And that's the other thing about the Dutch. It's close enough that you can walk to the grocery store and just bring your stuff right back. So it's a prime location. It really is.
Definitely, especially if you don't want to rent a car.
Right.
Sounds awesome. What What type of facilities do they have? They have the one pool. Do they have any restaurants in the resort?
Actually, so they have 3 pools on site.
Okay.
They have one bar and restaurant that's open for breakfast and lunch.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if you wanted to go to the Tamarind, you could buy a wristband at the front desk for drinks. And they also, the Divi Dutch also shares facilities with the Divi Golf across the street. So there's mulligans over there. There's windows on Aruba over there. Then they have the swim-up bar, and they have a little restaurant over there.
Very cool. 2 resorts for the price of one.
Right.
You can't beat that.
Right.
How old's your son?
My son is 11. He's going to be 12.
Okay.
And
what kind of things?
He tells people, you know, I love Aruba. This is my 5th or 6th time here, and I've been coming here since I was 4 years old.
Nice. Very cool. I just interviewed someone last week who had been going to Aruba since they were 4 years old. They're 26 now.
Okay, wow. Yeah. That'll be my son, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a cool experience. Yeah, we never went anyplace cool when I was young.
Yeah, me either. It was road trips to like Pennsylvania or New Jersey or
That's the exact thing I said. We would go to like Hershey Park or somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids these days.
Yeah, spoiled rotten.
They have it all. Yeah. God bless them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what kind of activities do you like to get into?
I like the snorkeling, even though I don't swim. I go for the drinks and the fun.
Okay, cool. Nothing wrong with that.
I've done Medusa, I've done Palm Pleasure, I've done Pelican. I liked Pelican, I think, the most because I think there were less people on Pelican, and so the staff was able to be more attentive to people.
Right. Yeah, and that makes all the difference.
It really does. I love the cuckoo. The cuckoo is so much fun.
Me too.
You know, I think my favorite part is how everybody gets on the bus and they're all prim and proper and nobody's really talking to each other. And then, you know, 2 bars in, all of a sudden everybody's loosening up and dancing with each other. There was actually one night on there, we were on with a newlywed couple, and the guy comes over to me and he says, "Whatever you do, Amy, don't let me take you home tonight."
That would be bad.
That would be really bad, yes.
Yeah, the Kukanuke is a very different type of excursion. You got to be ready for that mentally.
Absolutely. I mean, other than that, as far as activities go, I do a little shopping, going out to eat. But honestly, I just want to be there, relax, not have to follow a schedule, and just go. You know,
Definitely.
If I want to just sit on the beach and take a nap and lay there all day, head up for happy hour.
Right.
Great. You know, my life is so agendized, I'm going to say, that when I'm there, I don't plan anything. I plan everything before we get there, like as far as my flight, how we're getting to the hotel, and that's it. Once I'm there, there's no more planning. It's just we go with it. Whatever happens, happens.
It's a good attitude, great attitude. I am not like that at all. Well, no, we plan everything out.
Okay.
And then we do none of it. Well, we do about half of it. We end up ripping up the plans, and a day or two in, it's like, you know what, I don't feel like doing that. I feel like doing this instead. So, yeah, I guess it's like a hybrid between the two.
Well, you know, I think I would have missed out on so many great experiences if I had actually planned everything out. There was one year, and this was actually the first time I met my friend Dawn.
Okay.
A friend of mine her brother had arranged for one of his friends to drive us around all day. So he's driving us around all day, and one of the things we had to do was pick up my friend Dawn from the airport.
Okay.
So we had been having some drinks, and we told the driver, listen, we got to go to the bathroom before we get to the airport, And he takes us to this marina. So we go to this marina. We start talking to the fishermen there, and they're nice, they're friendly, and they're like, listen, we wanna take you girls out tomorrow on our boat. We'll come to where you're staying. We'll pick you up. We'll have drinks for you. We'll have food for you. Come and spend the day with us. So we're like, okay.
Sounds good.
So we leave. We go and pick up Dawn from the airport, and I said, hey, Dawn, guess what? Tomorrow these fishermen are coming to pick us up, and we're going to spend the day on their boat. And she doesn't know what to say because she's never met us before.
Okay, nice.
And she's like, oh, okay, great. And we had an amazing time.
And it wouldn't have happened if you would have stuck to some sort of regimen.
Right. Absolutely. I completely believe that.
Fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, unfortunately, that sometimes can get you into trouble, but it's never gotten me in trouble in Aruba.
No international incidents?
No, none.
So do you have any tips for new people to Aruba?
Any tips for new people? My one thing would be to tell them to be open to new things.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just stay at your resort.
Right.
Go out there and experience the island.
Mm-hmm,
Even
definitely.
if you only go to Baby Beach once, at least go and say you've done it. If you only going to see the lighthouse once, do that. Don't do all-inclusive. There are so many fantastic restaurants in Aruba you can go to that if you're doing all-inclusive, you're not going to be willing to go because you're spending extra money.
Exactly, yes.
Do that. Research your flight prices. Research your hotels that you're going to stay at. And just and wear a lot of sunscreen because you can get burnt there.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen.
Because it's extremely hot.
Yeah, I actually got burnt the first time I ever went to Aruba.
I've gotten sunburned myself there. So now that's my first thing. One of my first things is make sure you wear a lot of sunscreen.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I reapply like a champion now.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I was pretty careless back then. I've only been sunburnt twice in my life. One was on spring break back in college when I didn't use any sunscreen. Big mistake. That was in Florida. And also my first trip to Aruba.
All right. See, so now you learned.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned get off the resort, go explore a little bit. Aruba is one of the places that you can actually do that because you go to some of these other Caribbean islands and it gets a little sketchy the further away you get from the resort.
Absolutely, and I've heard that and I've experienced it. I've been to other islands, and it's just there's something inside that you feel a little leery going off the resort. But in Aruba, I have never felt that. I've never felt like something bad was going to happen to me. And not saying don't be smart and, be aware of your surroundings. But for the most part, it's very safe to branch out and not have to stay on your resort. Right.
This is probably more safe than most major cities in the United States.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Amy White, are you ready for the eye of the hurricane?
I am ready.
Okay. As you know, Aruba lies below the hurricane belt, but on One Happy Podcast, we visit the eye of the hurricane. Which is where I'll ask you a series of tough questions, and in return, you'll get back to me with just amazing and mind-blowing answers, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Finish this sentence. You know you're in Aruba when?
When I see the condensation rising in the airplane. I'm walking through the airport being handed a little Switzerland bag, and I'm dying for a cigarette when I get outside and the trade winds won't let me light it.
Okay, give me a no-brainer great time in Aruba.
No-brainer great time, Cuckoo Canuku, Palm Pleasure, Pelican, and just being at the beach.
Very cool. What's the best kept secret in Aruba?
Redfish.
Redfish?
Redfish.
Nice. I'm going to definitely visit that on my next trip. Are there any special tools, apps, or resources you use to plan your Aruba trips?
I use Kayak to track my flights before I buy. Sends me alerts. I've also bought trips on eBay.
Really? How's that work? I've never done that.
Actually, I've found some pretty amazing deals on eBay. So one of the first times I went, I rented somebody's timeshare out. It was maybe about $700. But you have to know your prices too. There was one of the times I went, somebody was selling a timeshare, presentation thing for like $199 for, I think it was 3 nights or maybe 4 nights. And then it was just an additional maybe $100 a night after that. So if you wanted to stay the full week, it was only like $400 more.
Right. Cool.
Once you can split that 3 or 4 ways, because I always go with my friends, you're staying a week in Aruba for a couple $100.
Right, yeah, you can't beat that. Yeah, you definitely can't beat that at all.
Right. So it's the kayak, eBay, and I used to use Yapta to track my flights after I bought. But now a lot of the airlines don't give credit or refunds unless it's $350
right
drop, and that doesn't usually happen. So.
Yeah. Do you have something that you bring from home or pick up as soon as you arrive to help you take your vacation to the next level?
I just bring sunscreen from home because it's extremely short down there.
Yeah. Because they know you need it.
And I stop at duty free and get my cheap cigarettes.
What's missing from Aruba, or how do you think Aruba could be improved?
Well, other than me living there, the only thing that I think they could improve, I really wish they would revitalize the downtown area back to the way it was.
Right.
It
seems like they're trying to revitalize it a bit.
They are, but I don't think they want the nightclubs down there again like it used to.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
Okay, so I believe it was my second or third visit there. I was on Druce Beach, which is the one next to the Divi, and a big wave came up and threw me out of the water, and I butt surfed up the beach. Legs spread up in the air, and I've never seen waves like that too.
I actually heard of another incident.
You heard of another incident for me?
Yes. It had to do with a gust of wind at the Divi Dutch, I believe.
Oh, no, it wasn't a gust of wind.
Okay.
See, there's been a couple of embarrassing things. Well, I consider the butt surfing more so. However, so I was at the swim-up bar at the Divi Village Golf Resort, and I went to lean over, and my bikini top broke, and so I flashed everybody at the pool.
A little birdie whispered that one in my ear.
I'll have to thank the little birdie for that one.
What's your Aruba vacation superpower?
The ability to turn off my New York, become an islander for a week, just be able to enjoy my surroundings, and have a good time.
That's very important to be able to just shut it off. Because a lot of people, they take a couple of days to wind down to that, to get on island time. And if it takes you a couple of days, then I mean, you're just wasting vacation.
Absolutely. Time is precious. As soon as I actually, even leaving New York, I try to put myself in that vacation mode as soon as I get there. Once I've checked in to my flight and I've gotten to my gate, I try to shut it off. I'm on vacation now.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. I'll definitely get
but
that.
But as soon as I'm back in the airport getting ready to go back home, the New York stops.
Well, it has to be. You got to be ready to hit the ground running. If given a chance, would you move to Aruba?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Any plans on doing that?
I want to. It's not as easy as people think it is to just pack up and move there. I think my son would have to be out of school. So I'm a few years at least away from doing that because he's only in elementary school.
Okay. And this is the final question of the Eye of the Hurricane.
Yeah.
The people of Aruba have decided to lock you out of paradise. That's right, they're no longer allowing visitors to the island. However, since you've been such a great guest so many times, they've decided to allow you to visit for one more day, all expenses paid. Amy White, how do you spend your last day on the island of Aruba?
I am going to get up early, experience the sunrise on the beach, head over and go snorkeling on one of the boats. Then I'm going to hit happy hour at La Cabana. And then I'm going to catch a ride on the Cuckoo Canucoo, see the sunset with a glass of champagne. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to find somebody to marry me so I never have to leave.
Great plan. How about Honey the cab driver?
You never know. He might.
There you go. Well, Amy, you survived the eye of a hurricane. How was it?
It wasn't so bad.
Good. Great to hear. I got one more question before I'm going to let you get out of here. Okay, so right now, there's probably somebody listening that's never been to Aruba, and they're trying to decide between Aruba and some other place. What would you tell that person to convince them that Aruba should be their next vacation destination?
Aruba is the only island in the Caribbean where you are welcomed with open arms. The sun feels amazing. The beach is amazing. But what makes Aruba better than any Caribbean island out there is the people. I have never met such friendly people in my entire life. And no matter whether it's your first time there or you've been there as many times as I have, you're always welcomed. And it's like home. It feels like a second home.
That's why so many of us love it so much.
Absolutely.
Well, Amy, I want to thank you for being such an incredible guest.
Thank you, Kurt, for having me.
Thanks for sharing your Aruba story with me. I love hearing everybody's Aruba stories. It's almost like a high.
We share a mutual love of a place that we've all been to, we all enjoy, and we all keep going back. So it's almost like even though I've never met you face to face, I feel like I know you because we have a common bond, and that we love Aruba.
Well, maybe one day we'll cross paths down there.
Maybe we will.
Maybe we'll be on the Canucoo.
I sometimes host the Cuckoo Canucoo. I don't know if Dawn told you that.
Nah.
Oh, yeah. I got more Aruba stories than you'd ever want to hear in your life, Kurt.
I'm looking forward to hearing some of them. Well, I'm going to let you get out of here for now, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
And that concludes another episode of One Happy Podcast, the officially unofficial podcast of the island of Aruba. This time with Amy White, who I want to thank for taking the time out of her busy life to share her Aruba story with me and all of you. And I also want to thank you guys for being such an amazing listening audience. Now remember, if you want to be featured on a future episode of One Happy Podcast, there are a few ways to make that happen. You can contact me via the Facebook page, and I've set it up so that you can reach that by going to onehappypodcast.com/Facebook, or you can email me at kurt@onehappypodcast.com. That's Kurt with a C. You can also visit onehappypodcast.com and click on the tab at the top of the page that says Share Your Story. One Happy Podcast is the headquarters for everything podcast related, so head on over there for lots of other great content, including the show notes for this 36th episode of the podcast, which include a lot of information that I don't expect you guys to remember, but don't worry because I always take the notes so you don't have to. But anyway, it's been about 40 minutes, so I'm going to let you guys get out of here. So, Until next time.
Hit the music.